Hello, and welcome to this video on how to create a production in Digital WarRoom. We are also going to go over how to check for common errors that may occur while you are creating your production. Let's start with a high-level overview of what the Draft Productions view is designed to do. Gather your production candidates into a draft production. Set your production settings, which will include beg baits, end baits, sequencing the production, and setting your print settings. Then you're going to image the production. I put an asterisk by the image production because imaging actually means a couple other things in the context of the tool. Then you're going to endorse the production, and I'm also going to go through what endorsing the production actually entails in Digital WarRoom. Then we are going to finalize and export the production in the separate productions view of the tool. As you may know, Digital WarRoom has a set of views which represent different stages of the eDiscovery workflow. Here we are in the Review view. Once you are comfortable enough with your work product to move documents into draft productions, you can move documents into a draft production based on any available filter criteria. For example, you could start by filtering on documents with a particular mark. Or, nested under the special filters section of the filter tree, there's an option called Production Candidates. Production candidates will include all documents marked with a produce type mark and have not already been produced. Control A to select all documents, or in my case, I will select a range of documents using Control, click, then hold Shift and click again. Then right-click the selected area and then choose to create a new draft production for which to add these documents. You can also create a new production from within the Drafts menu. Click Create Production. Digital WarRoom automatically generates draft productions with labels containing the date the production was created. Right-click the production and go to Production Properties to rename your production. The Drafts view will allow you to manage and QC documents which are expected to be produced and ultimately delivered to the opposing party or other recipients. As we showed you, you can add documents to production sets based on any configurable filter criteria. Let's say we've got our documents added to a draft production and we are ready to move forward. Step 1 is set your production settings. Here you can do the following. Create a baits prefix, set beg baits and end baits numbers, and set the production sequence order. Here are those steps in action. Set your baits prefix in the first text box. Next, you can set the beg baits number. If you have already produced a batch of documents within this database, your beg baits will automatically populate the number where you left off. To demonstrate that, we can quickly go over to the produced view, and I have a production right here with an end baits of 178. Back over to production settings. This will be my second production in this database, and my first baits number for this production will be Control 179. The sequence numbers will define the ordering of which baits numbers are applied. When a production is sequenced, the sequence number will start at 1, while the baits number will start at any number you specify. Here are some common options for how to sort the sequence order of your production. The default is first sort by custodian, and then sort by file type with email and attachments grouped at the top. Here I will click through some of the common production settings just to give you an idea of what you can pick, such as black and white, color, some different settings with Excel, Word, and PowerPoint, where you would like your endorsements and which endorsements you would like to stamp onto each document. And then here's the results of everything that we just did. By going through the production settings wizard and clicking apply, we know that our production was just sequenced. This is an important step as it is one of the prerequisites for imaging documents. Also, the production settings wizard was a way to set the default print settings. There are other ways to specify certain print settings for an individual document or by file type. Set custom print settings for a specific document using right-click. Here I can choose to produce the document in native format. Or, for example, I could decide to produce this document in full color, as opposed to black and white. You can specify certain global print settings based on file type here in the Custom Print Settings wizard. Here are some examples. In this case, all multimedia video files will be produced in native format so that the full video can be available to the viewer. Okay, print settings are ready to go. At this point, we will need to go through the image production and endorse production processes. You can reach these buttons by right-clicking on your production or using the buttons in the ribbon. What happens during the image production step? Production settings will be applied to your documents. There is more going on than just the simple imaging of documents. All of those print settings that we just went through will now be assigned to each document in the tool behind the scenes. Even if your production is all native, you still must apply the image production step. If any modifications are made to the production settings, you must re-image the production. As I showed you, documents can be produced as native, imaged, or withheld. For documents assigned as produce type imaged, a TIFF image will be created if it does not already exist. A page count will be assigned to each document. This is important for assigning base numbers later on. Documents produced as native or withheld will get a page count of 1. There is a special column called production state, which will be updated for each document to reflect the status of imaging. These states could be imaged, unconverted, or error. I went ahead and imaged this production. While the job runs, you can check the status of imaging by clicking on the View Jobs button in the top right corner. Here I got a notification that imaging is complete and the View Jobs button is gone. This does not mean that all documents are ready to be endorsed. Let's take a look at the results. Click the Search button to refresh your screen and update the page counts and conversion icons. After the conversion process is completed, make sure your fields are organized to give you easy access to the relevant fields for quality control. In your production, there may be documents with an error, which you can identify through the production state column, the error column, and the pages column, which refers to page count. The production state field shows an icon for each document representing the production state. In order for your production to be eligible for endorsement, all documents must have a production state of imaged, which corresponds with this white icon. In addition, all documents must have a page count greater than 0. Here we must answer the question, what is not converted? Make sure to check for all documents with a production state of unconverted or error. This filter is available to you in the filter tree. Sort your production by the Pages field and confirm each document has a page count greater than 0. Any blank or 0 page counts will need to be flagged for reconversion and the image production process run again. We recommend sorting page count in both ascending and descending order to check for the low and high end of the spectrum. For documents with hundreds or thousands of pages, consider producing them as native format to avoid unnecessarily large imaging jobs. Also check the Error field, which may provide an insightful description for why a document was given a production state of error. Here are some steps you could take to resolve potential errors. Open up the documents with errors and see if you can view the file in native format. This will often immediately help you determine the source of the error. Check the Redaction State field. Are there any documents with pending or unapproved redactions? These must be resolved before moving forward. Here in our production, I have one document with a redaction state of pending. I will leave this as is to show you what will happen if there are still errors after the endorsement phase. The third step is to adjust the timeouts for each file type. Digital WarRoom has specific limits on how long it will spend trying to open a document for imaging. You can adjust these settings if needed. If you find that a document made it into the production by accident, right-click and remove from production. You may be able to solve some of the errors by simply imaging the production again. Clear the error state by right-clicking a document and flagging for reconversion. Then image the production again. When you re-image a production, only documents with a production state of unconverted will be imaged. As a reminder, here are the prerequisites to endorse a production. The entire production must have a production state of imaged. All documents must have a valid page count greater than 0. The document with sequence number 1 must have a Bates prefix and Beg Bates number. Let's go ahead and endorse this production. The endorsement phase will do the following. Each page will be assigned a Bates number. The page count of each document should align with the Bates range. Documents are endorsed. The Bates numbers, PODs, and redactions are burned onto the images. For documents being produced natively, this phase involves copying the native documents into DWR's internal production location. Now that the endorsement job is complete, let's check one of the documents to make sure it was endorsed. Let's open this up in the document browser, tab over to the image tab, and we can see down at the bottom of this TIFF that the Bates stamp was burned on correctly. Following the completion of an endorsement job, you will get a notification your documents have been endorsed. Still check for errors. First, let's see how many documents were endorsed. There are 38 documents in the production, and based on the results of this search, only 37 were endorsed. What happened? Let's search for documents not in an endorsed state. There is one document with a redaction state of pending. Let's check and approve the redaction and solve that error. When we go to re-endorse, Digital WarRoom will know to only endorse documents in a state of imaged. The tool will only need to endorse this one document, and it should be a pretty quick job. Once endorsement is complete, you can still remove documents from your production, but that will cause a Bates gap. Let's pretend for a second that I would like to remove a clump of documents from somewhere in the middle of this production. After removing these documents, you can see that the Bates numbers jump from 227 to 231. Find the first document after the Bates gap, right-click, and press Clear Bates Numbers from here down. This will clear endorsements and revert all documents from there down to the state of imaged. Now let's endorse the production, and the Bates numbers will be reapplied. Don't worry if there is a gap in the sequence number. The tool will still apply Bates numbers in sort order of the sequence number. Before we finalize our production, there is one more crucial step. Every image document that is produced will be accompanied by a corresponding searchable text file. Test OCR text files and make sure redacted text is not included. Here is a screenshot of an unapproved redaction to demonstrate that there will often be text underneath the redaction. Upon redacting a document to cover up certain information, make sure to Re-OCR redacted document images. Otherwise, redacted text will still be searchable in the included text file. Once the OCR is complete, the production can be finalized and moved to the produce side of the tool, where it can be exported. First, check your fields and click the field chooser and make sure that there are no fields unchecked or hidden which you would like to produce. Hidden columns will not be available to export. Now, right-click and export production. Here in this window, you can select the metadata fields you would like to export. In most cases, if you are producing to the opposing party, click the box Include Searchable Text where exists. Browse to a location. Name the production. Choose a production format. Single-page images is most common. Choose the file name formats. We recommend appending the POD to the file name for native documents, as native documents will not have the POD burned onto it. If a document is attorney's eyes only, for example, it will be immediately clear by the file name that this document should be viewed only by the attorney. Let's go ahead and export this production. Here is the load file, which includes your standard DAT, OPT, LFP, and CSV. Here we have our TIFF images. Here we have our one file which was produced as native. We also have a text folder which contains the extracted plain text and OCR from the documents. Thanks for watching, and good luck with your future productions. For questions, contact us at support@digitalwarroom.com to reach our help desk.